everyone, and welcome to Simply Made Homestead, and welcome to my kitchen. Well, this morning I am going to make some old timers bread, and it is so good and so easy, and we just absolutely love it. So I wanted to bring you along with me and show you how to do it. Now, to begin, I have started my oven at 450 degrees. I have my cast iron skillet. Yes, you really need a cast iron skillet. If you don't have one, I will have links below to different items that I'm using today, and the cast iron skillet is one. Be sure to check it out. It is a wonderful thing to have, and you won't regret it. Now, while the oven is heating up, I haven't had it on long. Oops, I didn't hit start. Okay, I thought the oven was on. I didn't hit start. I've got it set to 450 degrees. And the first thing I'm going to do, if you don't save your bacon grease, be sure and do that. It is a wonderful thing to have around whenever you need a little grease for whatever, for seasoning. It is just, it's a wonderful thing. So I am going to take 2 tablespoons of bacon grease and put it in the bottom of this cast iron skillet, and then I'm going to place it in the oven and let it heat up with the oven. Alright, now in the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please be sure and do that now. We would love to have you join us and come along on our little journey of building our homestead. We have lots of made from scratch recipes and DIY projects around the homestead and things going on in the garden, and we would just love to have you with us. Now, to start with, I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, I use King Arthur flour. I grew up with all the other ones, the Pillsbury and Gold Meadow and things like that growing up, and I always used it. But when I got to where I started baking bread, I have found the King Arthur flour is just is a better product for me. That is just my recommendation. You use what you love. So, but anyway, 2 cups of King Arthur flour. It is all-purpose. I do like to use a little whisk once I get my dry ingredients together and kind of fluff up my flour. Now I'm going to take 1 tablespoon of baking powder. My baking powder I do buy in bulk from Azure Standard. I will leave a link to them below for you as well. They're just a wonderful company. The prices are really good. Lots of organic products. It's just a really cool place to get things from. And I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, I always use unsalted butter, so if you do use salted butter, you may want to back down on the salt a little bit there. And now I'll take my little whisk and just whisk it around, just to mix it all together and give it a little fluff. I have a half a stick of unsalted butter. And I like to grate my butter. I have used a fork to mash up my butter. I've used the little pastry thingy, I don't know what you call it, to cut in my butter. And I discovered this, and this is like the way I like to do it. It's nice and easy. Throw my little grater here in the dishwasher, and we are good to go. Alright. Now, when I'm mixing my butter, you want to keep your butter, whenever you're making any kind of breads or pastries, keep it as cold as you can. Some people will even put their flour, especially when you're making pie crust, they'll put their flours in the refrigerator, make sure everything is good and cold. Now my flour was room temperature, but my butter did come directly out of the refrigerator. It was nice and firm. And I just like to whip it around in there with a fork so I'm not adding the warmth of my hands to get things going. Now I do kind of make a little bit of a well in the middle. And then it typically takes me about 1 1/4 cups of buttermilk. I suggest starting with 1 cup. Now, if you don't have buttermilk, you can use regular milk, and you can add like a teaspoon or 2 of white wine vinegar or of white vinegar to your milk, and it kind of gives it that, let it sit for about 5 minutes, and it gives you that kind of a curdled buttermilk flavor, a little more flavor than regular milk. But I do love, it's just buttermilk is just a beautiful, beautiful thing. It takes anything, pound cakes, breads, anything, just it really takes it up a level. So I'm going to fill my cup up to about, that's about 1 1/4. Now when you use buttermilk, always make sure you do shake it before you use it, because it does kind of separate in the container there. So I know 1 1/4 works best for me. So I'm going to go throw it in there. We're going to go from there. Now I'm just taking it right in the middle. And I'm going to start stirring and bringing my flour in from the sides. Sorry I don't have a camera overhead to show you exactly. One day I will. But we're just going to gently mix it all in there. We just want to moisten the flour. You don't ever want to really work your biscuits or your pie crust, and the reason being is because it makes it tough, and we want it tender. We just want it all incorporated. Now I'm going to bring this in close to you. All right, give it a chance to focus. You see how that just has a it's very moist and it's very shaggy. Okay, that's what we're looking for right there. You see how moist and shaggy that is? You can see, and still it didn't really, but if I started getting my hands all in there, it would stick to me really big time. Okay. We're just going to let that sit there until the oven is ready, and then once it beeps, we're going to pull the cast iron skillet out. I'll show you how we're going to add it in there and spread it around, and what comes next. All right, now while the oven has been heating up, I started some tomato gravy on the stove. I asked my husband if he wanted eggs or tomato gravy, and he opted in for tomato gravy. So got that started. If you're interested in learning how to make tomato gravy, if you can leave a little comment below, and I'll sure get a video out for you. Now the oven is ready, so let's get our pan out. Super hot, so be very, very careful. And then I just kind of swirl the oil around a bit. I mean, this pan is super hot, guys, so really, truly be very careful. Now, we're just going to take our dough. There's no forming of the biscuits or anything like that. That's just a little extra goodness about this recipe. And we're going to plop it right down into the pan here. Should have gotten a nose scraper. All right, and you see it's just a big clump, so we're just going to spread it around as best you can. Just kind of push it off into the side. It doesn't need to be smooth. It doesn't need to be, we're not looking for perfection here. We're looking to just spread it out to the edges of the pan and then get it back in the oven. And it might be a little chunky, a little lumpy, all the better. Good stuff. All right, now you'll see mine there. All right, now we're going to get it, make it slide down a little bit. All right, back in the oven, we're going to set a timer for 10 minutes. Won't be long now. Timer's going off, 10 minutes has passed. Let's get it out of the oven, and we're going to flip it. Now, you can see here, you can see it started cooking, but it's still nowhere near done. So you need to get a nice big spatula and work your way underneath it. And that is a weak place right there. So I'm gonna come over here to this side because we want to try to keep it whole and flip it really quick. Because mine's really, must have been super moist. It was really starting to break up. So you got to be quick. You saw that, right? You got to be super quick. And you see how it's browning on the bottom from the bacon grease? We're going to stick it back in the oven for another 10 to 15 minutes. Just keep eye on it. After 10, check it. And if you need to cook it a little bit more to get a little more brown like you want it to be, because it really depends on how your oven, the temperature level of your oven. So let's set it back in. I will check it in 10. Here we are. Now I left mine in there for almost 15 minutes, I think. The power flickered, so my timer went off and I had to guesstimate. But anyway, so it's for about 25 minutes total. I like mine, like you see how it's really dark and crispy on the outside. That's how I like mine. And we tend to have to cook things a little bit longer with our oven than recipes call for lots of times. So and now I'm just going to flip it back out on the pan and look at it. Oh, a little piece fell off. I'm going to have to eat it. Look at that, guys. It is so, so good. I mean, I love to have it. It's just my husband and I here most of the time. So there's leftovers. I just love to go back and nibble on it. It is so good. It has that bacon flavor and it's just so light and fluffy and the outside is so crisp and yummy. You can put it with eggs on the side, bacon, grits, and eggs. You can fix you up a bowl of syrup and butter or molasses and butter and just run it through that, which is one of mine and my granddaughter's favorite ways of eating it. And it is just so good. I can't wait for you to try it. If you do try this recipe, please leave me a comment below and just let me know how you like it. I'd love to hear from you. If you would like to follow us and be able to get notified when new videos come out, you can hit that notification bell right there beside the subscribe button and you'll be notified every time something new shows up. And we just love to have you along because we like to eat good around here. I can't stand it, so I'm going to have me a little taste here. Look at that. You see how light and fluffy that is? Let me bring it close. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? So good. So moist and tender on the inside, crispy on the outside with a hint of bacon. So good, guys. You won't regret it. Excuse me for talking with my mouth full. You've got to try this recipe. I can't wait till you do. Now, let's fix Honey up some with a little tomato gravy on top. We'll see what he thinks.
Oh.
All right. Now, I've already eaten half of the pan. Not half, but like a third of the pan raw by myself. I did dip it in some gravy, but now Sweetie's here, so we just got his all broken up like he likes it. So we are going to add some tomato gravy on here. Now, you'll see over here I have 2 pans of tomato gravy. That's because the first pan that I made, I wasn't paying attention, dumped a whole bunch of tomatoes in there. I added too much tomatoes. So we had to redo. Because you want your gravy to have, you know, it has the tomatoes and a little red hue to the gravy, but it's brown. It's still brown with kind of a red hue to it. And there you go. Has lots of salt and pepper in there. You're gonna add, he adds hot sauce to everything. I don't understand it. I really don't. Just mess it up. But you know.
I like heat.
Is it any good?
I wish my mom and dad would have made this growing up. I love this.
My mom and dad didn't either. We learned when we learned, right, guys? All right, guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. If you've enjoyed this video, please give us a big old thumbs up, share us with your friends and family and all across social media. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. We would love to hear from you. And until next time, take care.
And God bless.
And God bless.